The rest of 2025 is not a countdown, it's a doorway. Before the year ends, the stars are giving you one more chance to get honest, get aligned, and get intentional. And if you use these final transits of the year well, you won't just walk into 2026 hoping for some kind of shift, you will walk in already changed. So let's lock in. This time of year, it's easy to fall into this trap of, considering the year almost over, considering it a little bit of a write-off if you didn't achieve everything that you wanted to achieve. But astrologically speaking, it's looking very, very different. The final part of 2025 is showing us a happy merry-go-round of squares from personal planets in fiery Sagittarius to Saturn, the disciplinarian, and Neptune, the dreamer, in ethereal Pisces. And they do all of this before moving into the sign of Capricorn. So what does that mean? This means we're moving from dreaming to deciding, from truth-telling to building an actual practical vision. So this video isn't here to predict your fate or anything like that. This video is here to help you utilize these transits, utilize these energies at their peak to build a structure, to build intention, so you can glide effortlessly into the new year and not worry about setting New Year's resolutions while you're full of turkey, full of Baileys, and really cannot think about anything other than when you're going to have your next nap. So we're going to look at what's happening in the sky and translate this into an actual practical usable framework for you to utilize, because at this point, transformation matters a lot more than just information. So here's how to lock in and make the rest of 2025 completely ours. So we have a few key players in the rest of December of this year, but they all kind of tell one big elaborate story. Starting with Neptune, which turns direct in Pisces on December the 10th. That doesn't mean necessarily that the fog and the confusion lifts overnight, that everything becomes magically clear overnight, as wonderful as that would be for many of us. But it does mean that our dreams and our visions are requiring expression. This is the final stretch of Neptune in Pisces. This is the last time any of us are probably ever going to experience Neptune in Pisces ever again in our lives because of Neptune's long transit. Next year, Neptune begins an entirely new journey, starting with the first sign of the zodiac in Aries. That's a whole other story that we will discuss in another video. But what this means is that we are coming to the final pages of the last chapter of a long 250-year cycle. It's like the tides in our subconscious are being turned. New dreams are surfacing, or old dreams are resurfacing for one final moment of closure. And hot on its heels, just a day later, Mercury moves into Sagittarius. It will be out of its shadow on December 17th, meaning that it will be back to the position where it started before it was in the retrograde. It means that we are finally done rehashing an old story that we had to revisit from multiple different angles during the Mercury retrograde. And we are finally ready to move on, to move to new stories, to move to new adventures, to move to new philosophies, to new ways of thinking and conceptualizing the world and our lives. On December 15th, Mars moves into Capricorn. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. It loves being in Capricorn. Mars in Capricorn, imagine the Capricorn, the mountain goat. It climbs and it climbs and it climbs, seemingly impossible heights and impossible cliffs. Mars in Capricorn is steady, methodical action that takes us to heights that we could never, ever even imagine. This is the starting point of truly locking in, of taking action. This is slow and considered action, but it's continuous action. It's reliable action that is going to take you to these new places and these achievements that previously you have only ever been able to dream about. On December 20th, we have a new moon in Sagittarius, which is the final new moon of the year. And there is honestly no better time to start setting your intentions for 2026, because this is where you rewrite your story. This is where you tap into this ability to dream big, to create something from nothing, really, to envision your life the way that you truly, truly wish for it to be with your heart, and to not be afraid and to not shrink down and to set those intentions. You really want to capitalize on the way that your mind thinks around this time, because you are able to see the big picture. You are able to see this beautiful mountain peak that Mars in Capricorn is allowing you to climb up to. And the very next day, the sun moves into Capricorn. This is where we move from vision to embodiment. Whereas before we were dreaming big, we were sociable, we were talking about adventures and dreaming of adventures and travel and exploration and all of the places we want to go. Now the sun moves into Capricorn and it's saying, okay, I see your dream, I see your vision, right, now show me your calendar. Now show me your commitments. Now show me what you're going to do to make this a reality. Venus enters Capricorn on December 24th. Juno enters Capricorn on December 29th. So we are starting to get serious about the things that we envisioned and that we dreamed about towards the end of the month. We are starting to move from vision and dream to practical plan. It doesn't mean that we start creating everything at once. And this is a really big thing about these New Year's resolutions and about this whole end of year thing. The reason why so many New Year's resolutions fail is because we just get the energy completely wrong. We try to shift everything at the same time with one concerted effort. You know, during December, you might have been starting your day with cookies and a shot of Baileys in your coffee, and then come January 1st, bam, all of a sudden you are trying to start your day with 2 hours in the gym, a protein shake and a salad. And that just doesn't work. It doesn't gel. There's a disconnect there. Capricorn energy isn't about this one sudden burst of movement, of changing everything radically all at once. If you want to do that, then Aries season would be the best time to do that, at the spring equinox in the Northern Hemisphere. This is when you are able to actually, make big, dramatic, bold changes. Capricorn, which is where we are at the beginning of January, wants you to take slow but measured steps. It's that 1% better every day. And that 1% better every day compounds over time. And the crucial thing about Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, the planet of discipline, but also the planet of responsibility and commitment. And one of the most powerful ways that you can start your new year is by making a promise to yourself that you are actually able to keep. Because imagine the difference between setting these impossibly high goals and then inevitably falling off eventually, because willpower only lasts so long. And then you are starting the year with broken promises to yourself, and you start the negative self-talk and you start being mean to yourself. Whereas if you start locking in now, if you start making slow, gradual changes now, don't do the 2-hour-a-day workout. Start with 5 minutes. Make it something that allows you to prove to yourself that you can honor your word and that you can keep the promises to yourself. And that's going to build momentum like nothing else. And the other interesting thing about the end of the year is that we will have these continuous squares between all of the personal planets. So we've got the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all moving through Sagittarius, squaring Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. Now, a square is a dynamic aspect. It's something of a difficult aspect, but it also creates tension and it creates energy. And in this case, there's a tension being created between this big picture vision and these big picture goals that you might have, and any subconscious patterns, anything that you might be unaware of. And we truly want to utilize that tension because, like I said, this tension brings energy. It's not a bad thing. It will bring us clarity and it will set you up for success in setting your goals and your intentions for 2026. So now is really when you want to start thinking. You want to allow yourself to dream big. And when you hear that little voice of doubt and that nagging little piece of, yeah, but I'm not sure that's realistic. Yeah, but I'm not sure that's doable. Pay attention to that because that is telling you something. Saturn in Pisces is trying to put a boundary on that which cannot really be contained, on something that is without boundaries. But it also helps us to set structures. It helps us to set structures to something that seems ephemeral, to our dreams, to our visions, to something that might not even feel achievable. But utilizing Saturn in this way, breaking down your goal into realistic, achievable, manageable steps is how we utilize that tension. And with Neptune moving direct as well, it's going to be a lot easier to cut through the confusion. We've been extra confused about any kind of big picture goals while Neptune was retrograde in this final degree of Pisces. And for many, it feels like there is something new on the horizon and it's just that little bit out of reach. And that can be quite a frustrating feeling. Well, now that Neptune's moving direct again, now that Mercury is moving out of its shadow again, it feels like this, whatever this next big step is finally within grasp again. This feeling dissipates of every time you try to reach for it, it just seems to dissolve and get away from you and slip out of your fingers. So here is your 3-step plan to make the very most out of these powerful transits that we're experiencing at the end of 2025, so that you can step into 2026 already miles ahead of everybody else who is not using astrology to their advantage and who is trying to start on a completely blank slate. You're going to be 3 steps ahead already. Number 1, between December 10th and 17th, we are using this window to gain clarity. This is when Neptune moves direct, Mercury moves out of its shadow, and we're using that to clear the confusion. There are 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself during this time. You can journal on these questions, you can just go on a walk or go work out and just think about them and contemplate them, pour yourself a bath and just relax, chill, and think about these questions, whatever works for you. Just set aside some time to let these run through your head. Number 1, where have I confused potential with a promise? This means, where have I gotten so caught up in the potential of something happening that I kind of treated it as a given, as something that is definitely going to happen without me having to take any action on it. Number 2, where have I let hope take on the role of a plan? Where have I just been hopeful that things will just fall magically into place, but really I could benefit from making a plan? Even if you have to adjust, that's totally okay. You don't have to have every step figured out, but where would it be really helpful to have a plan in place? And number 3, where have I been avoiding making a decision because I've just been so confused about something? Step 2, this is where we start aiming. So you've had some time to reflect on those questions. Now between December 15th and 21st, it's time we create a vision. This is the perfect time to start making your vision board for 2026. And the way I really like doing these is to split your life into different categories. I usually use 12. You don't have to use 12, just split it into categories that matter to you. So some popular categories would be health and wellness, finances and career. You might wish to split finances and career, make them 2 separate ones or have them together. Friends and family, love relationships, creativity, your intellectual life, your environment, things like where you live, the way you travel. Adventure is another great category. Community. You may wish to pick and choose, and you might have different categories that are important in your life, but the important thing is to look at your life from a multifaceted view. You're a multifaceted being, so your vision for your life should encompass many different areas. And it's good to have a vision in all of those different segments of your life. Build that vision and create something. Maybe you just want to make a list of intentions. Even better if you can get a little bit crafty, get a little bit creative and make a vision board. Either a classic, print out some photos, get some scissors and some paper and some glitter and stickers and everything else you want to get crafty with. Or you might just wish to do it digitally as well, which is also totally cool. And then you can maybe make a collage that you can set as your desktop background for your computer or for your phone or somewhere where you're going to see it fairly often. And then step 3, between December 24th and 29th, this is where we set a commitment. This is where we look at our vision board, we look at the clarity that we've gained, and we want to just look at a way how we can get just 1% closer to each and every one of those goals. Don't make it overwhelming. Don't make it this big thing. Just think of what action you can take to get 1% closer. That might be waking up in the morning and just doing 1 sun salutation, 2 push-ups, a 3-minute walk, or sprinkling some extra seeds or some extra fruit on your breakfast. Don't let yourself get overly ambitious. Don't let yourself get swept up in the excitement of the new year and of being this totally different person come January 1st. Remember, these small consecutive Capricorn steps are going to take you so much further because that 1% compounds. It compounds day after day after day. And if you can just keep up with 1% better, you're going to be totally transformed and unrecognizable at the end of the year. So if you're ready to lock in for the rest of 2025, to let the stars refine you rather than exhaust you, here are the 3 simple steps that we're taking. Clear the illusion, aim and anchor, and commit to the path. If you would like a little bit of extra support with that, I have a year-end alchemy ritual as well as lots and lots of beautiful journaling prompts waiting for you inside my newsletter. You can find the link to subscribe below. My newsletter is more of an inner circle where we go really deep on a lot of these techniques to help you manifest your most beautiful life ever, whether that's 2025 and 2026 or whenever. And if you found this video helpful, if it resonated with you, it would mean a lot to me if you could like it, if you could subscribe to my channel, and maybe share it with someone who needs a little bit of extra encouragement towards the end of the year. Alternatively, if you'd like some personalized guidance, your own personalized toolkit on how to use your astrology to your advantage to make 2026 your most incredible, beautiful, and aligned year ever, now's a great time to book a personal consultation with me. You can also give that as a gift maybe to somebody that you love. Again, the link for that is in the description bar below. So let's use the rest of 2025 as a launch pad, not a countdown. And I'll see you in the next video next week. Ciao, ciao.